what men are looking for in a relationship.
And would you be with a girl that's 5 out of 10 because she can cook? That ain't what I said.
Oh, well, firstly, that's not what she said, to be fair. And secondly, I'd be with a 10 out of 10 who can cook because I'm top G. But to make the point, I think what you have to understand is what men are looking for in a relationship. What men are interested in life, not just in their relationship, but in their life as a whole, is status. I don't think most people understand, especially women, how competitive the male world is and how competitive it is for status. This is why men do everything they do. Men buy the faster car, not to drive any faster, because of status. It's why we want a bigger house. We don't give a shit where we live. It's because of status. It's why I want to go to the gym and get big and strong, because of status. Everything we do is about status. It's why we want the better jobs. It's why we want more money. It's why I want to be respected. So what's the number one thing we want our female to give us? Status. That's what we want. So she can give us status by being beautiful. That's one thing she can do. But another thing she could do is if I turn up home and I come home with my boys and she says, I'll cook you all a steak. That's status. That's all my boys going, Ross, you just been out all night and she's here and she's going to cook for all of us and she'll clean up and tidy up. Boom. That's the kind of girl a man's not going to want to lose because it makes him look good. That's what men want. Status. Suck a dick, blah, blah, blah. Listen, dick can only be sucked in so many ways. I mean, let's be serious about this.
Have you had the Gok 3000?
No, this is actually a serious point, right? This is a very serious point because the Western world has collapsed in real time and it's a failed society. And one of the reasons it's a failed society is because of the over-sexualization, especially of females as a whole. If a woman comes up to me and goes, I'll be the best sex you ever had, I am revolted. I don't want the best sex I've ever had. I want you to be pure and a virgin. You should know what sex is. Shut up. Don't come and talk to me about bile. It's disgusting. I don't want to hear that shit. What I want is a woman who makes me look good. No woman who's running around talking about sucking dick can make me look good. So I lose interest completely and utterly, and that's the truth. So what she's saying is completely correct. These are old school things, but it's not about the act. Yes, you can order food, of course. It's about the status that comes with it. That's what it's about.
It's a straight shooting sort of conversation, but I think that sometimes we get distracted and we talk about the bicker between men and women. I think that the problem that men and women have is the consequences of the bad decisions that the 1% of powerful men make on our behalf, because our problems are on a societal level less than between woman and man. That is why there's a lot of competition between men, this chase for status that they will never get.
I understand what you're saying. But the idea that this 1% of men have created this terrible society, yeah, I talk about that. I talk about the Matrix. I talk about these things. But it's always been this way. It's always been a small elite group of men who are in charge of the world. And unfortunately now, we're fighting battles in different ways. The days of old, a man proved his worth by going to war. Basically, every man at any point in his life was going to end up going to war, and he came back victorious, he came back with honor, he got himself a wife. That's how it worked, right? Now men don't have to go to war as much, depending on where you live in the world, and it's slightly different, and we fight our wars in other ways. And one of the true expressions of testosterone and trying to really express your ability and your combative ability now in the modern world is power and influence. So in the olden days, you'd go to war, you come back with a ribbon. Nowadays, you got X amount of followers, you can move the world with money. I can bend reality with money. Please understand, if I walk into Jimmy Choo, they lock the door. No brokies allowed in. Tate's here. I want. There's lines outside because I'm there. I bend the world with money. That's how the wars are now won. So you're talking about high status males, and it's always been that way. Now you have a whole contingent of men who aren't dead. Okay, they didn't die in a ditch, but they're lone. And that's the reality of it. And women don't give a should you? I'm not sitting here actually shitting on women in any way. I think women have a biological instinct to a degree to try and find the best mate they can because it gives them the highest chance of survival in the harsh realities of the world. And if they look at a man who's not capable, they just don't feel an attraction to him. And that's the bottom line of it. And that's why I'm largely misunderstood. I don't blame women for a lot of the problems. Women are guilty of certain things, but I have a massive amount of blame to place on men because there's so many men who are genuinely incompetent. If I was a chick, I wouldn't either. Like, they're losers. So it's hard out
balance.
It's
I
hard.
love it.
Do you know what I don't understand? Why people are always going for the 1%? All the women want to rush for the 1%. Why don't you just find a regular 9-to-5 person that's going to look after you? You can be his queen.